James Webb Space Telescope orbits the Sun at a distance of 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth. It is stationed at L2 or second Lagrange point, which is named after the French mathematician Joseph-Louis Lagrange, whose name is inscribed on the Trocadero side of the Eiffel Tower. To know more about Lagrange and his mathematical contributions, I am joined by the 2010 Fields Medal winner, Cedric Villani. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Who was Lagrange and what are the Lagrange points?
Lagrange is one of the very great names of mathematics. Lagrange is a mathematician very active at the end of the 18th century, beginning of the 19th century. He was very active during Revolution time, before Revolution, after Revolution. Actually, very much in favor of the Revolution. One of the mathematicians who worked on the definition of the metre and on the revolutionary calendar. But he was not just a French, he was Italian by birth. He worked in Italy and in Germany and in France. He was a truly European mathematician, and he was very much a mathematician devoted to his art. Always super bright and always focused, concentrated, doing only mathematics seems like it would have been his ideal. And Lagrange had enormous influence in everything that is related to classical mechanics, classical variational problems. When you want to minimize an energy, look at the trajectories, mechanics. Really, his most famous work is his treatise about mechanics, to the point that one speaks of the Lagrangian mechanics. Lagrangian mechanics, Euler-Lagrange equation. You talked about the Lagrange point. There is the Lagrangian is the name that physicists use when they want to describe an energy which contains kind of in itself, in its form, the dynamics of a certain system. When you have somebody like this, like he's a contemporary of Euler, embodies the pace of living mathematics at his time, and then is in an extremely fertile disposition, so that many contributions bear his name in the end. And Lagrange, together with Laplace, also his contemporary, were the best people to know about the laws of the solar system and gravitation in general. So Newton gave the laws, the famous Newton law of attraction, but then it took 1 century before mathematicians really master the law and its implications. And for instance, Lagrange and Laplace are the two ones who proved mathematically that the distances between planets in the solar system are stable, very stable, stable over periods of time which are way longer than the time scale given by the year, actually of the order of the million years. This was an extraordinary achievement. At the end of the 18th century, mathematicians had proven something like stability of the solar system is at least of the order of the million years. Newton did not have the sufficient tools to prove this. He needed some tools from perturbative analysis and so on, and it is at the time of Lagrange that it was solved, and Lagrange was one of the main contributors to this. What is called Lagrange point now? When you have, imagine you have two bodies, and so it moves like this, etc. And then you ask, is there a way to put something, some third body, in such a way that the picture given by the three bodies remains kind of in change, something which is stable with respect to a certain referential. You want something to be stable. And two bodies, of course, with respect to each other, they will kind of remain the same. But the third body is very tricky to find the right position so that the triangle remains stable. And that is, solution of this problem gives you the Lagrange points. Why do we like these points to put telescopes? Because these are points of stability in which the environment is as stable as possible. Perturbations are kept to the lowest. When you want to have very high resolution, you are looking for maximum stability. So all the mathematical life of Lagrange is traversed by these ideas like let's find whether something is stable or unstable, dynamical or not dynamical, what is the time scale, how to analyze a position, a variation, the energy, and so on. And so Lagrange is emblematic of these kinds, of this period and all these classical tools. When you do rational mechanics, like I did part of my career on statistical mechanics for classical mechanics, etc., and you learn about the basic of fluid mechanics and etc. And very early you are told that there is Lagrangian point of view and Eulerian point of view. Eulerian point of view when you focus on the flow, Lagrangian point of view when you focus on the trajectories. Now, historically, actually, this is not accurate at all. And both Euler and Lagrange did have some understanding of both points of view, and they were very much influenced also by the Bernoulli. But when some people have so much impact and such brightness, they are also attributed, in addition to their own work, they are attributed some other additional work. And so the fact that Euler and Lagrange now are like the duality, which is at the basis of any description of fluid mechanics in any textbooks of mathematical physics, gives you an idea of the importance and influence of Lagrange on the subject.
And what would you say are the other applications of Lagrange's mathematical contributions?
I cannot say everything, but almost everything. At least whenever you are studying something in classical mechanics, you can trace back the contribution to Lagrange. No, it's like when you have a tree, let me say that every leaf is an application of the trunk, you know what I mean. So the Lagrange concepts are so much at the basis, fundamental part of classical mechanics, that he could claim part of the responsibility in anything that you do in classical mechanics, from classical fluid mechanics to astronomy, launching a satellite, etc. Whenever you do something like this, you are in the footsteps of Lagrange.